Hi guys, Alice Taylor down here at Lytham Golf Academy, and today I'm going to be testing the brand new Ping G410 LST driver. Right then guys, so Ping G410 Plus an SFT driver came out a few months ago, but LST wasn't released at the same time because according to Ping, they couldn't find enough of a difference in performance with the G410 over the 400. Therefore, they weren't going to release a model just for the sake of releasing it. As a result now, a few months down the line, apparently there's a change in performance. So I'm going to have a little bit of a close-up look at the head, talk about some of the technology in the LST head. We're then going to hit some real balls, Titleist Pro V1X on TrackMan, and we're going to see how the new LST driver performs. And we might hit a few with the G400 at the end to see, is it actually an improvement? So we can see then, G410 LST, so the low spin technology. So we've still got the movable weights around the back of the club head, moving that CG from toe, center or heel. We've still got the adjustability around the hosel of the golf club. We've still got the forged face that we've seen in the other models. But what's the difference with LST? So we've got a slightly smaller club head at 450cc, allowing Ping to move the CG slightly nearer to the club face, reducing spin, now claiming 200 to 400 revs per minute. And they're also claiming with the new smaller head, MOI being 3% better than G400. So we're not having outrageous claims about improvement, but let's see, is G410 any better? Right then, so low spin technology. Everybody likes a driver with low spin. Interestingly for me, like I said before, Ping didn't feel a few months ago there was any difference in performance between this and G400. And we are talking about such small changes, 2 to 400 revs of backspin and 3% MOI. So are we going to see that in numbers? Let's find out. Let's hit some real balls and let's see on TrackMan how this driver performs. So certainly, even though the club head's slightly smaller, it's not noticeable as you put it behind the golf ball. It still looks pretty big, not as big as some of the stuff out there. So I do like the shape of the footprint of the club head, but it's all about performance. Does this driver perform? So felt solid, and like with the other models, it feels very, very quick off the club face, and a decent start at 266 and 291. Now, like I say with all my driver reviews, for me, a lot of the drivers are really, really maxed out. So it's about seeing, can I get this? This is set up great for me, but can I get this to perform as optimal as possible for the way I swing the golf club? So that first one was a decent start, but probably not as long as I can hit. That felt very good strike. There's a little bit of breeze out there today, so as the breeze comes off, we can see 270 carry, 292 total. Now that, for me, we'll look on Optimizer shortly. That'll be very, very close to being my absolute optimum. Just tug that one a little bit. So a decent strike again. 271,302. Now, usually, if a driver's very, very low spin, it can accentuate lack of accuracy. So we can see there, I'd be in the fairway with those 3 shots, but nothing absolutely phenomenal there so far. But last couple. Again, good solid one, maybe just leaking a touch and riding the wind. So looking worse with the breeze. Straighten out just under 270. Let's go one final one. So we can see some pretty consistent numbers so far, but I'm not sure. For me, this seems to be performing any better than the plus. Again, felt a decent strike. Very windy down here. So it's definitely a little fade. And again, just under that 270, 285 total. So let's look at some numbers from those shots. Let's look at strike, because obviously strike is a massive influence on how a driver performs. Right, so if we look at the general strikes there, pretty centre. If anything, slightly high on the club face, which is going to promote a slightly higher launch, a little bit more spin. But if we look on optimizer there, 269 was my average carry, 292 my average total. So almost as good as I can get, expecting 271 and 297. So we can see ball speed just under that 160, which is pretty typical for me. Probably if I could have launched that a little bit lower with more consistent strike and spin down a touch, I might have got up to that optimum. But all in all, very, very good, consistent numbers. Right then guys, so like I said, really, really good numbers there. Interestingly, Ping didn't feel months ago that there was much of a difference between what they had G410 LST and G400 LST doing. So I've got G400 LST here. Let's just hit 2 or 3 and let's just see what difference, if any, we see from driver to driver. So I've got the exact same shaft in there. Obviously technology is a little bit different in the head. Little bit pulley. And we can see there, carry at 263, just back slightly on what I saw, 6 yards. Let's do another couple and get an average. That feels absolutely ripped. So very, very straight. 270 and 300. And again, feels very, very solid. Definitely getting out there. And we can see there 277,302. So at the moment, probably from 3, G400 just giving me a little bit more. And again, another solid one. Be very, very playable. And getting out there just under that 270. Let's go final one for G400. And again, take that one all day long. And where are we going to get to? 276. Okay then, so I've hit 5 with G400. Let's look at these performance numbers and see how it stacked up against G410. So from the 5 drives, we can see the strike varied a lot more with G400, definitely more down to me than the club. We saw ball speed was almost identical, launch was almost identical. We saw spin was a fraction lower, which I would just put that down to maybe strike more than anything on there. And if we look performance-wise, probably got very, very slightly more out of G400, but almost nothing in it. Right then guys, so Ping G410 LST. Is it a good driver? Yes, like all the equipment that's out there. The key is to get along and get fitted. Did I see an improvement over G400? Not really. If anything, I probably hit the G400 maybe less consistently well with strike, and yet got more performance out of it. So I think if you've already got a G400 LST, you're very, very unlikely that you're going to be moving up to G410. I think if you've got slightly older models or different manufacturers, definitely 410 potentially is going to give you more, but not necessarily sure that it's any better than G400. I'm sure with robot testing there's that tiny percentage which makes it better, but for me I don't see that in my testing. It's not to say it's not still a very, very good club, but as ever with all the manufacturers, you shouldn't need to be changing driver year to year. Should be some of those things that maybe every 3 to 4 year cycle now you're switching driver, but get along, get fitted, hit product, find what works for you and what is optimal for you. So guys, hope you've enjoyed the video. If you have, like and share it. Comment below, I'll get back to as many of you as I can. Click the subscribe button, ring the notification bell. If you don't already subscribe, please make sure you get my videos as soon as they land. Follow me on all my social media platforms, all under Ali Taylor Golf. Hopefully catch up with some of you guys down here in the future. Stay in contact.